What's up, y'all? Hope y'all doing good. No matter what social media site you are watching this on, welcome to my social media book tour for The Unexpected. So, normally when I am getting ready to do a social media book tour, normally I let people know about a week or 2 weeks in advance that I'm going to be doing my social media book tour, and normally I do it within 4 days. I do it only on weekends, so like one day on Saturday, another day on Sunday, and so on and so forth. And I do it on separate social media sites. Like I'll post one on Instagram, posting one on Instagram also posts it on Facebook, and then I'll post one for TikTok, and then I'll post one for my YouTube channel. But I'm doing this differently. I'm doing it just today, and and I didn't tell anybody that I was going to do a social media book tour. I want it to be unexpected because that is the name of the book, The Unexpected, which is available now on BarnesandNoble.com and on Amazon. So, tell you a little bit about this book. I'm going to do a little reading from the book, and then I'll say a little something else at the end of it, and then that'll be it. So, tell you a little bit about this book is that I started writing this book in August of 2023, and then I released it originally on my AKT Publishing WordPress page in October of 2023. And it's no longer on my AKT Publishing WordPress page because once I went back to reread this book and add things that I eventually added to this book and then released it as a book, which is now available on BarnesandNoble.com and on Amazon, I deleted it from my WordPress page. So yeah, that would be the only way you can get your hands on this book is through BarnesandNoble.com or on my Amazon or on Amazon.com. Anyway, so when writing this book, I wanted to. This is a love story, and this is a love story that I wanted to challenge myself in writing. Normally, when I write a love story, it's two people meet. It's two people who meet, and I put them through what I put them through, and eventually Eventually, it either comes out good or bad, or with some hope. Kind of like a walk through London. A walk through London is interesting because there are two editions to that book. There's the ending. There's one ending that leaves that there's an ending that is sad but is sad, but also leaves it with some hope at the end. And then the second edition kind of changes the whole book itself and kind of makes you and kind of questions what's going to happen next. So and that was fun to do because to make a second edition of A Walk Through London and add that ending in there and kind of now question the book and make it feel new again. So that was fun to do. And then there's also Dear Love, which ended in a very real way between friends, best friends. And the way it ended that, it could have gone one way and it went a completely different way. And I loved and that was fun to do. And I wanted to do something like that, but I wanted to take it up to try to top what I did with the other two. And that's The Unexpected. And The Unexpected is really two separate love stories that eventually merge into one love story. So you have two separate love stories that everything feels good, and then tragedy hits them both unexpectedly, and then they fall to the bottom, and they allow themselves to stay in the bottom of darkness and loneliness, and they allow that to be the thing that guards their heart and protects them from allowing anybody else to get close to them and their heart again. And then years later, at a best friend's wedding, a possible second chance comes to them when they meet each other at that best friend's wedding. And that's The Unexpected. And you go through the ride that you go through from beginning to end. And I am very proud of this book. I am honestly proud of every story that I've ever written. I am very proud of. And writing love stories is something that I love to do. I'm a big believer in love, as I am also a bit of a hopeless romantic. But in my own experience of love, and regardless of how it's been for me, and no matter how I feel about me ever finding love again, um, I I love I love writing a love story and taking any feelings that I have about love and my ideas of it and how I see it for me. I like I like to put it in every love story that I've written, and there's so many different scenarios to write a love story, and this is just another one of those scenarios that I wrote for this. Um, the one thing I will say about me writing love stories is that I really owe it to Luther Vandross. When I was a kid, there were times when my parents were, I would wait till my parents were sleeping before I would turn the TV back on. But when I would turn the TV back on, I would either watch Jay Leno, Conan O'Brien, or Arsenio Hall. Mostly, for the most part, it was Arsenio. And there was a time when Arsenio Hall had Luther Vandross on, and Arsenio Hall had Luther Vandross on a few times when his show was on the air. And one of the times that Luther was on the Arsenio Hall show, Luther was promoting his he was promoting his Power of Love album, which is one of my favorite albums. Don't Want to Be a Fool is one of my favorite songs. Power of Love is another one of my favorite songs. I'm Gonna Start Today is another one of my favorite songs. Anyway, when Arsenio Hall asked Luther Vandross why he sings about love so often, something that Luther said that I heard as a kid really resonated with me as a kid, and I held on to that and use that as the motivation to why I write love stories today. And what he said basically what Luther said was that love, like, you can get right when it comes to playing sports, like if it's basketball or baseball or football, or you can get it right when you're learning to drive. But love is the one thing that everyone is still trying to get right. And that's why he sings the love songs that he sings, because love is something people are still trying to get right. No matter how right you think you have it, we're all honestly still trying to get it right. And I as a kid, I understood that. I understood what he meant by that, and I held on to that. And when I started getting curious about writing, when I started getting curious about writing and eventually started to write love stories, I remember what Luther said, and I used that as the fuel to write the love stories that I write, to come up with the ideas that I come up with for each different love story. So when I finally when I got to the end of the summer and it's 2023 and I started writing The Unexpected, I really try to go as deep as I could with what Luther meant about trying to get love right. And I feel like I did that with The Unexpected, and taking two people, Charles and Zoe, and giving them their own separate love story. But then at some point, life kind of kicks in, right? When everything is going good and you feel like you have it figured out, and you have it all figured out, and you know what's going to happen in the next 10, 20 years, life comes in and throws a fork or a wrench or whatever, throws it in the middle of this path that you're on, and unexpectedly, and kind of derails all your plans that you had. And it kind of puts you in this moment where where life is forcing a challenge on you, and you have to stop yourself and figure out what you are going to do. For Charles and Zoe in that moment, they didn't know what to do, and they didn't know what to do. And staying at the very bottom of darkness and loneliness, allowing to be the thing that protects them and their heart and keeping people away from them, was the right thing for them to do until something right came along. And at a best friend's wedding, that's exactly what happens. And trying and hoping deep down, no matter how you feel about love and how much you think you're okay with being alone and allowing darkness and loneliness to be the thing that protects you, as much as we're scared of getting hurt again, secretly, and it's so secret that we don't admit it to ourselves even, we hope we meet someone that will show us, as Alex Isley once said in her song, we hope we meet someone that will make us feel that we can love again. And that was one of many things I wanted to tell in this story, in this book called The Unexpected, was that there is someone out there that we haven't met yet, that no matter what we went through with our love and no matter what they went through with their love, that there's someone out there that will love us for exactly who we are, and that will show us and help us feel that it's okay to love again. Anyway, and yeah, that's all I'll say about it. But it's available now on BarnesandNoble.com and on Amazon. The link is in the bio. If you don't see a link, I'll leave one for you in my descriptions. But before I go, I wanted to read a little something. It's a little something from the book. This is from a few words from the author. In trying to pick something that I was going to read, there were a few funeral scenes. There were some dream sequences. There was the first date and the second date that I could have read. But I didn't want to, but reading any of that, it feels like it might spoil the book a little bit. And I don't want to spoil the book for you. I hope all of you take the opportunity to get this book and read it for yourselves, and then let me know what you think. So I'm just going to read you this thing called A Few Words from the Author. For the most part, all love stories are the same. Two people meet, they fall in love, that person buys a ring, they say I do, and they live happily ever after, for the most part. However, there are different versions of how a love story is told. Some love stories end tragically, some love stories end with some hope at the end, and some love stories end with a little bit of everything. However, one thing that is the same about all love stories is that any two people, meet and fall in love. I've written a number of love stories in different ways, and I enjoy writing them. The year was 2000 when I wrote my first love story. I was a sophomore in high school. It was a love story that turned into 3 love stories that evolved the characters from one story to the next over time. From the time they met to when they got married to when they had their first child to when their love story ends with pain and sadness and they go their separate ways, but ending the series of that love story with hope that both characters would find their way back to their own version of happiness separately in the end. In my life, I've experienced the highs and the very lows of love. We all have our own love story to tell. In recent years, I've come to the conclusion that even with how unexpected life, and especially love, can be, I may never know love like I once did again. But it doesn't mean I've lost my faith in love or that I've lost the ability to love. I have a lot of love in me to share and a lot of love to put in every love story I've written and will continue to write. When it comes to love, at least for me, love is Love is many good things wrapped in one person that we wish we could be with for the rest of our lives. But that's what I think. When it comes to love, I'm a hopeless romantic that believes in all the good that love can be. I believe that's the main point of writing a love story. I believe people like myself write love stories to show love for everything that it is and for everything that it can be. Love is kind, love is patient, love is beautiful, but love is also messy. Love is complicated, and love is risky. I believe the kind of love story I wanted to write was my attempt at showing everything that love is. No matter what happens in our lives, no matter what you believe or don't believe, everyone has their own ideas of what love looks like to them. And the characters you're about to meet are about to experience what love looks like to them. Thank you for reading. I now present to you all The Unexpected. And like I've said a few times already, The Unexpected, it's available now on barnesandnoble.com and on Amazon. The link is in the bio. If you don't see a link, I'll leave one for you in the description, like I've said many times before. And I just want to take this time to say thank you to all of you who have stuck with me in this video from start to finish. And I really hope you enjoy the book, and thank you for joining me for this edition of my social media book tour. No matter what social media site you're watching this, thank you again for watching, and I will see you all on the next one. So until then, take care of yourselves. I'll see you on the next one. Peace, y'all.